Hey everybody, Regina Andler here, and welcome to Coffee with Regina. Today I have my friend Diane Rolston with me. Did I say that right? Is it Rolston?
Rolston.
Rolston. See,
Pretty close, pretty close.
it doesn't matter how simple some people's names look. I always seem to pronounce them incorrectly. Well, Diane, let me tell you all a little bit about Diane. So, Diane is an award-winning certified life and business coach. She's a speaker and she's the CEO of Dynamic Women Global Club. And what Diane does is she specializes in coaching high-level dynamic women and entrepreneurs who've been prioritizing their success over their satisfaction. She coaches them to live a balanced life and still confidently reach their goals faster. How cool is that? I love that. And she has these proven systems and processes that help you clarify or get clarity on what to focus on, the confidence to go for it, and an action plan with tangible steps to actually get it done. So she loves sharing her strategies and interviewing guests. She has her own Dynamic Women podcast, and her newest program is called VA Made Easy. And what it is it's designed to move you from task overwhelm to business ease by passing off your work to your very own VA that she helps you hire and train so that they're doing exactly what you need them to do. Welcome, Diane.
Thanks, Regina. So great to be here.
That was a really long introduction there. I read a lot of your bio for a reason, because when we get to the end, I wanted everybody to know everything that you do. And I know our conversation today, we chatted about this, is about VAs. And as a business owner myself, when I first started my business, when anybody first starts their business, you're chief cook and bottle washer, right? And then and then business starts happening. And all of a sudden, it's like you've got all these things that you're doing, and you're like, I don't have time to do this. And I'll tell you for myself, the scariest thing for me, and it wasn't a control thing, it was like literally just a scary thing for me, was trying to find somebody to take it over that I could trust. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you do, and tell us a little bit about, well, I don't know, why do you need a VA, and how, I know you make the process really super simple.
Yeah, well, I'll kind of share. I came from corporate, and when you're there, you have a team, you have support. And when I went on my own, I thought, okay, well, this is the entrepreneurial life. You just kind of, pull up your bootstraps and you do everything yourself. And that's what I did for many years, everything myself. And then I had moments on vacation with my family where I'd be in the bathroom of the hotel getting work done so that I could be present with them all day. Or I started missing out on opportunities because I just didn't get around to filling in the form or giving them my one sheet to do a speaking engagement. And I thought, like, when am I actually going to be able to run a real business and make the profits that I want? Because there just wasn't enough time to do everything. So I ended up hiring a Canadian assistant, worked with them for 6.5 years, and that was wonderful. But what I realized was I wasn't getting the amount of kind of the tech level that I needed. And also the thing is, we all have bottom lines in our businesses, right? And so we're thinking like, okay, so we have so much allocated to support and so much to this and so much to this and so much to this. And I was just like, I just can't make more hours of work with my assistant, but I need it. And so kind of the universe spoke up, and my Canadian assistant decided that she wanted to focus on her family. And so that pushed me in this direction of, well, let's hire from the Philippines. I've heard really great things. So I learned how to hire from the Philippines. And it was a godsend. Like, really, the 2 virtual assistants that I hired were amazing and are still amazing because I still work with them today. But what I didn't know is how many cash flow activities I wasn't doing because I just didn't have the time. And this is what I see in my coaching practice with my clients. They're dropping the ball, or they're just like, consciously, I don't have the time, yet I want to move my profit up. And so it's funny because you think, how can an expense with a virtual assistant actually make you money? But when you're starting to give up some of those lower impact, lower income producing activities, it's quite easy actually when you're focusing on high impact, high income producing activities to start moving your business forward. And I felt so much relief for myself because I thought, wow, now I'm running the business I want. Now I'm making the profit I want. Now I'm making the impact I want.
Yeah, so can I just interject there for a minute because you said something that really just it tickled my brain because you said those low income tasks that we're doing versus the high income tasks, and as a business owner, in your head you're thinking that they need to get done, these tasks need to get
Of course.
done, and it's really kind of a mindset shift. You have to have that mindset shift first, I think, to say, you know what, it's okay to have somebody else do this. It doesn't
Mm.
have to be you. And I think you just hit the nail on the head for part of what was my issue as well at first, because it was part of the, but this is my business, I'm supposed to be doing this stuff. And so I had to have that mindset shift to say it's okay, let it go.
Well, you struck on something that society has led us to believe. This is a lie. It is not up to the entrepreneur to work 80 hours a week and burn themselves out and never see their family and basically hate their life because they thought they were getting freedom. Now, I'm not also saying that you're going to, in the first couple years of your business, be able to work that 4-hour work week, right? But there's that balance between, let's keep you in your core competencies, the things that you do best, the things that actually bring in the profit and bring in the money and move you forward. And let's be honest, the things that you love doing that give you energy. There's a difference between that and then the other tasks that really can be passed off. And when you're able to make that switch, and even like for people out there that are like, oh, come on, Diane, I can't give this part up. Only I can do this, or I can't give this up. I really love it. Okay, cool. Start with the things you hate to do. Start with the things you don't know how to do. Start with the things that you haven't had time to do. Usually those are pretty easy to give up. And with my 3-step process for passing it off, and I'm guessing people are like, okay, now tell us the process since you said, I will share that. So I used to come from a background where I did training, and we did a whole week of training for people. And then we supported them in the transition of them doing the job afterwards with me, kind of watching and seeing how they do and providing feedback. I've changed that training model. I do record like one video, really simply, not perfect, just like, here's how you enter people into my CRM. There's my title. And I just talk myself through it on video. Like, I do this and I go here and I do this because of this. And then I pass that off, and my virtual assistant documents the process. Because this is another problem I see in business owners. They have no SOPs, no standard operating procedures, no manual, no systems and processes that have been documented to easily pass off. So they create it. And then the third step is they just do what they just created.
You just gave me a major aha moment, because some of my processes that because I have so many of them, and I'm
Mm.
still working to get them all written down. It literally never dawned on me to say, hey, just make a video and let my
Yeah.
VA actually
Yeah.
write the process. It never dawned on me to say, let them actually write it out. In my head, I'm going, oh, I have to write all this stuff out. It never dawned on me to have them do it.
That is that was the biggest blocker for me. I hate that detailed work and that boring work of take a picture of what happened, then write the directions, maybe put an arrow in there as to where to click and add the bonus notes. And oh my gosh, I couldn't be bothered. So what happened? everything was in here. But when you get more successful, more busy, you start losing pieces and forgetting how you did it last time. And so it literally is reinventing the wheel every time you do the task. So if you have a summit that has a massive system with many processes, with many moving pieces, you're going to sit there going, what did I do last time? And where was that copy that I wrote last time? And how did I give it to them last time? Or even in the first time, you're like, how do I do this? I don't remember. And now how did I do the last 4 steps? Because I don't remember. But this way, it's a really easy way for you to train them without actually having a bum in seat with them on video. You do it, you pass it off. You do another one, you pass it off. And the best little like ninja tip here is, as you know you're bringing on a virtual assistant, actually start recording the things you do. This is me sending invoices. This is how I want my funny Friday post on social to be made. This is, and for you, like, this is how I set up coffee with Regina. This is how I email my guests. This is how I do this whole process. And then have them document it, because they're going to learn because they're in it. They're taking those pictures. They're trying to document it so clearly that they're going to teach themselves. And then when they go, oh, I'm not quite sure what to do, go back to the process that you just documented and double check. So it also stops us from another big problem I see, which is micromanaging. We're not going to do that, because we're going to go, well, what did the process say? And if you're not even clear on your process, you're like, I don't even know. Okay, well, can you get a first draft? And then you're going to have your VA do it. And then you go, oh, oops, I forgot to give you what really is step 4. So let's add that in now. And you've got this live kind of working process that you can keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking to make it even more efficient.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, too, a lot of people start businesses and they don't really always have the end in mind for their business. So if there's any thought as the end in mind being, hey, maybe one day I want to build this and sell it, you can't sell a business unless you have those processes in place.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. I'm glad you brought that up, because, you know, not everyone's idea is to sell a business. However, what if the idea was to bring in someone underneath you to run everything so that you can just kind of show up for the fun parts? Or you could mentor someone. So for some people, it's a legacy. So they know that they're running the business and they want their child to pick it up. Well, now it's going to be such an easy transition. And yeah, without your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, without manuals and processes and systems, what are people buying? Your list, your programs, the rights to your books. Like, what is it that they're actually buying? If you have this kind of business in a box already set to go, you can not only get a quicker sale, you can get more money. And I think a lot of people in selling their business, the worry is, will my business die under this new owner? If you already have the processes set, you know they're going to be able to hit the ground running without you having to be hands-on every second of the day. You can go lay on the beach in Mexico and just be kind of remote and help them out. But it also gives that opportunity for that business to really jump or continue with the profit margins that you had based on that consistency of the processes.
Yeah, I really love that idea. You know, you've totally blown my mind already with the whole idea of, hey, let the VA create the standard operating procedures. And
Let's stop here. This is amazing.
I'm like, wow, yeah, because my brain was like, I come from a technical background, so I'm into that detail analytical stuff, even though, you know, it's very time consuming. And that's where my brain is going, okay, well, you know how to do this. You're detail oriented. You love the details and stuff like that. I've got more important things to do in my business, though. So it's always pushed to the side.
Exactly.
And it never really dawned on me to just say, hey, let a VA do it. So when it comes to that, how do you find one that's the right one? Because I will tell you, in the past, I have hired
Yeah.
VAs and some from the Philippines that I really needed to fire and really quickly because they were not a good fit. They didn't get anything that I was trying to tell them. I was giving them instruction, a lot of information, and
Mm.
it just wasn't clicking. And I know it was just not a good fit for me.
Mm. Mm.
And my frustration with it came with the, okay, I'm sick and tired of trying to hire a VA because there's just so many out there. And honestly, I just don't know how to do it. That's where you come in.
Mm. Yes, yes. And the good news is you don't need to be an expert at hiring. I've actually kind of inadvertently become an expert at hiring. I did invest in a coach to teach me her process. And so I don't teach that process because that's her IP and I want to honor that. But I also realized like this is not a skill that business owners need to have. They just need a good VA. And so we've actually refined it over the years to kind of come into about a 2-week process where I have 300, usually about 300 applicants in about 48 hours. And then you might be like, whoa, how do you break that down? My process is very black and white. There are overt tests. They know exactly that this is a test to see if I can do this, to know if I'm going to go to the next stage. But I also have covert tests, ones they don't know about. The reason
Hmm.
being, I want to see things like what is their attention to detail? How will they work independently? How do they communicate with me and with my Filipino assistants? I've had to let people go in the hiring process or like not proceed with them because of their rudeness to my Filipino VAs. And I think if you're going to treat them rudely because you think they're beneath you, how are you going to treat a potential client for one of my clients? A lead, right? No way, you're gone. Also, I test them, as I said, but the test, I'll admit, is really annoying. It is so detailed and jumping between, okay, now watch this and do this, and because of this, and check this template out. And it, I'm looking for who's going to persevere, who really wants this, and who's going to persevere and make it through. And then I do written interviews. I do actual Zoom interviews, not just with me, but with one of my assistants, because I know she's going to know if they're kind of bluffing me on certain work experience. She knows the industry, right? And so the two of us interview, and we also do a trial period. Because as great as you are in the interview, you might be terrible actually when we get down to the work. So talk is cheap. Show me how you can do it. So in that process, I'm testing them on a whole wide range of tasks that a virtual assistant will need to do and that a client really wants. How are they with creating social media posts, doing research, documenting the processes, things like video editing. Now, are we going to make something like Spielberg would make? No. But are we going to be able to make you a little like a video to put on social media? Of course. We have such a variety of tasks because we hire general virtual assistants. I don't want my clients to have to hire 5 different people to do the tasks. That's time wasting when you go, okay, you do this and you're going to do this. And let me remind you what this is about. And we just want to be able to talk to one person and get a bunch of things done. And so in that week, I'm testing what's the quality of their work, the speed of their work, how's their communication with me. And I've already tested to see how their English is, both written and spoken, both off the cuff and prepared. And then I want to see how do they do on the tasks they say they can do, and how do they do on the tasks they say they can't do. Can they transfer skills over? Can they apply themselves and get it done? Because a lot of the job of a virtual assistant is to do things they've never done before, because I don't want to do it. So we go through that whole process, and then people worry about things like, well, they're in a different time zone. Yeah, but some of them work through their night, which is our day. Some of them work during their day, which is later in our afternoon. So I always be able to match what's ideal for the virtual assistant, what's ideal for the client. So that's sometimes how we lose virtual assistants, is because we hire in the wrong timing. And then we don't want to be up at 2 a.m. to have a meeting, and we shouldn't be. And the virtual assistant maybe doesn't want to be up when they're not naturally going to be up. So there's so many moving pieces, but the beauty is the client doesn't have to worry. The client goes, I'd like this type of software, these type of tasks, this type of kind of working hours. And I go, great, thanks. And then I go and I either hire new, or I look in the pool we have. We've got 16 virtual assistants. And I say, actually, this person would be a really great fit for you. And then that's my responsibility to make that a match. It is like matchmaking and dating. I'd like to think I have a better success rate than if you went on your first date with someone to marriage. I'd like to think that we're about 95% match rate where people continue. And hey, if it's not working out, I support that working. And if it's still not going to work out, then I support that shift. It's my responsibility to bring in another virtual assistant. So you don't have to worry about any of that process.
So new title for you, Diane, the ultimate VA matchmaker?
It could be. It could be. And that's what I was thinking in the beginning was, let me just give my clients a virtual assistant. And my clients range from speakers, coaches, trainers, to people with brick and mortar businesses, project managers, accountants, real estate, investors. Like we have the gamut of people. And the thing is that I realized is it's not just let's get a VA. That's like step one. It's then what do we delegate? How do we delegate? How do I use the project management tools? What software do I use? How do I communicate with them? How do I do feedback with them? And so my goal is to make all of that super easy, so it's more seamless in working with your VA. So I focus on the client side, but I also focus on the VA side. Hey, how should you be working with a Western client? How can you be proactive? How can you speak up and say your opinion? These are the type of things that I know clients, business owners are looking for. They want to be poked and reminded, hey, you need to write that post, or hey, we need to get that application in. They want that support, because if they're anything like me, they got you can probably relate, Regina, you got so many things going on in your head, right? We're spinning plates all the time. We can't be thinking about stuff down here. That's where we want our assistant to step in and kind of take on that mental load.
Yeah, I really love this conversation. This is like full of massive golden nuggets for VAs and for hiring a VA. And I know one of the biggest questions on a lot of people's mind is, as they're starting their business and stuff like that, they're like, oh my goodness, I can't afford a VA. And that's a big reality for a lot of coaches that are getting started or whatever, that they're like, I really want to outsource this stuff. I really want to be able to focus on my core genius and do what I do best. However, I'm not quite there yet. I know I need to make some kind of investment. I just can't make a huge investment. So how does it work hiring? And is it, a huge investment to hire a VA?
So this can also be seen as another myth that we're led to believe, that we have to wait until we're making more, making enough, or further along in our business. But boy, did I wish I had this information earlier. How many times I struggled with a landing page, my website, my CRM, my email sequence, editing my own videos. My gosh, the day I found out that it took me 5 hours from start to finish to write a blog and post it, I was like, screw this. I'm offloading this task. But the key thing is everyone is on their own journey. And so I'm not going to tell people you have to. I'm just going to give you kind of the reality is, from start to actually selling products, when you're starting out, and product, services, whatever it may be, there are a lot of steps, a lot of pieces. And if you can have someone along the journey to support you, to put that, to put the final tweaks on the website, to troubleshoot for you, to cut and edit your video and put intros, outros on and get it on a platform, to set up your cart to sell it. If you have someone else to do that stuff, you get to stay in the creating of the service or product. And you get to also stay in what I'd suggest really clients stay in the marketing piece. They should write their own copy so that they have the direct impact to their client, down on paper. So it depends. Do you want to do all of that stuff yourself? What I see in clients is they burn out. They get frustrated. The dream loses its sparkle because they're in the thick of it, the weeds. So if you want to do all that yourself, I did it all myself. I just know it was not the most efficient way to do it. So it's not an expense to have support. It's an investment. And the faster you get support and get your products and service out, the faster you can make money. I can drop of a hat. I have an idea for a program. I can get that out so quickly because all my only responsibility is to come up with the name, the price, some of the learning points, and then I just create the videos and they're all edited and handouts are made, fillable PDFs. It's all put up. The landing page to buy it is made. The social posts are made. It just the magic happens. So really it's people's decision. And obviously I'm going to lean towards get support and know that when you're hiring someone from, and I know you're in the US, I'm in Canada, same in the idea of you can be looking at, 25 to 40 on the lower end for a virtual assistant, and they do a great job and they're local and all that stuff. You're going to connect in the same culture. But that level of person might not have the skills that you're looking for. Then you're going up to 75 to 150 an hour. I could not afford that in the beginning, or I could, and it was 2 hours a week, 1 hour a month. It was very limited. We go over on the other side for a virtual assistant. We're looking at about a third of that. So, people can do the math, figure out what that looks like. And you're going to get someone who is the same competence, if not even more highly competent, super driven, extremely grateful for the work. And they have a different work ethic and a different cultural way of being. They thank me when I give them the next task. It's not always the case otherwise.
Yeah, that's a huge point there too. It's there are a lot of folks here in the U.S. and in Canada as well that can do this stuff, and it's a completely different culture. Because I've worked with people from the Philippines. My guy who takes care of website and all my landing pages and stuff like that, he's in Singapore, I believe. Yeah, I think so. And then I have a social media person who's in South Africa, and they're completely different cultures on how they think about how they're doing the work and what they're doing, and it's a completely different thought process. And finding those people who do it and do things well, that's always the biggest challenge for most people. And I just love that you put this together. That I always found that as my biggest challenge was how do I hire them? And my biggest frustration was hiring and then having to get rid of, hiring, then had to get rid of, hiring, had to get rid of. And I was like, how many times am I going to do this? Where you learned a process that, like you said before, it's not something you teach because, frankly, I don't want to learn it. I don't want to learn how to hire a VA. I just want the VA to be there and take care of the stuff I don't want to do.
Exactly. And the thing is, when you're hiring, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so now that I've been doing this for over 2.5 years, I have done dozens of hiring processes. We tweak and refine it every time. I've actually got it to the point where Christine, one of my main assistants, she's able to run the process for me. Anytime she sees something that kind of falls outside of what we've already documented, I jump in. And obviously, I am the one that has the final say in every step. And then we talk through the process. And so my clients don't have to know. They just have to say, yeah, I want to have a VA. Diane, let's talk. That's all they need to do. And then I really guide them because I've connected all of the dots. I've made it as simple as, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. It's a recipe that we follow. And then the other thing is, you marked on the thing of like, you have to let them go, or worse, I've heard that people like ghosted them, or they get locked into a company. And I'm not dogging any company by any means. I'm just speaking to the clients that have come to me saying, I tried to hire through XYZ company and the person they gave me was not a good fit. And then I was on my own and I had to try to make it work. And then I just didn't want to hire again. So I just made it work for as long as I could. But really, it was like subpar work and all this. And then eventually my contract ended, or eventually I broke the contract. And now I'm here, Diane. And so my thing is, if it doesn't work, I already said I support, or I swap them out for somebody else. And we've learned from that. We've learned maybe how you as the client, we've learned how you really want to work with someone. We've learned that, oh, wait, you do want these additional skills. And so then I'm able to rematch. That's my responsibility. But on the flip side, the VAs know that if they lose a client, if a client moves on, then it's my responsibility to fill that client spot. Both sides have security, knowing I've got their back, knowing that I'm also there to support that relationship. Every month I have client calls to talk about, like, what are your wins? What are you having them do? So you can learn from each other. It's kind of like a mini mastermind. And then I also will give more strategy. And that's what I didn't realize. A lot of my IP came in to this process, my intellectual property, my systems and processes. So I thank you for reading my full bio, because I want people to hear, like, I am a speaker. I am like a fee paid speaker. I also speak and offer. I have my podcast. I have my community. I have my coaching programs, and I have the agency, and I do a whole bunch of other things. I say that not to brag, but to say, like, these are the systems and process that I actually share with my clients. Mm-hmm. And on the flip side, when the virtual assistant knows that they have job security, they kind of, okay, I can just work with my clients. I don't need to have to be out there marketing myself, posting, trying to get other jobs, taking work that I don't like, piecemeal work. And the benefit is they have job security. They want to stay. So we know the whole thing around hiring and rehiring and retraining, and that's a costly process. But with the systems that I help you put into place, and the fact that we're going to have, I have a big retention strategy to keep those VAs, that relationship gets to grow. And not just from a financial point of view, but I am so blessed to have Christine and Carissa, to have had them working with me for over 2.5 years, to have that relationship, that knowing, right? They now say things like, okay, since we're doing this, are we doing that? Or, oh, you put this out, but is this the next step? Or are we going to follow our pre and post event process on this one as well? Yeah. Good. Yeah. Right. They start thinking for me, which is so beneficial.
Yeah, I really love that. And that's how you build a successful business. That's how you actually are able to, like you said, you've got so many different arms of what's going on in your world. And if you had to do everything, there's no way you could handle all of that. There's just too much information. So you need that team in place that is able to assist and take care of all those other things, so that you can go working your core genius and do what you do best. And like you said, that's the high income tasks that you're working on. So that being said, just a question. because we're over time now, which
Oh,
is fine. No,
okay.
that's perfectly fine. This has been a great conversation.
These are
How do
bonuses.
people go about contacting you? Do you do any, calls with people to see if you can help them? How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah. So the best thing to do is just email me, Diane at DianeRolston.com, DIANE at DIANEROLSTON.com. Just directly message me and be like, hey, I want a virtual assistant. What now? And I'm happy to, yeah, jump on a call with you to see that this is a right fit for you. It might not be a right fit. Who knows, right? I mean, we're only going to know by having a conversation. I often do also these like training sessions called either Go from Overwhelm to Ease with the help of a VA, or Build Your Business and Reach Your Goals with the help of a VA. And so you can attend one of those if you prefer, but the fastest way is just email me. Let's have a conversation. I'm going to tell you about the process. I'm going to tell you if it's going to be a fit. You're going to know all about it. There's not a high pressure sales thing, because I want to work with people that it's going to actually help. And I also want to work with people who are going to be good to my VAs, because they're like family to me now, right? I've had a lot of them for like a year and a half, and we have plans of working long term together. So happy to answer the questions. And even like some people might have concerns about, well, how do I know they're working? Or will they work within my hours? Or how's their English? Bring your concerns to me. Because when I know what your concerns are, I can tell you what we've done to really support that and make that not a concern anymore. And really ease where you're at. Even if you're like, I don't think I'm ready, well, let's have a conversation.
I love that. And when you talk about like doing some of the classes and stuff like that,
Mhm.
outside of just emailing you, is there a page on social media, Facebook or something where they can
Hmm.
connect with you so that they can keep up to date and check it out?
Yeah, great question. So one thing I'll, as most businesses is just jump on our email list so that you do get the latest information on events and blogs and podcasts and things and trainings. But on the flip side, you can join the online Facebook group, the Dynamic Women Global Community. The Facebook group is a free place to be. I love going live in there. I'm actually going live this week in there to talk about a shift that I had to make early on in my career to actually be able to start making better decisions and feel better about my business and have more success. And so that's a really great place, because I love to hang out in there, and there's a really amazing community, as I'm sure is the same with your community that you host.
Yeah, this has been an amazing conversation, and I know there's a lot of people who have been asking about VAs, and I've had people asking me about VAs, and I said I am not the VA person. I can tell you yes, hire a VA. Can I tell you anything else outside of that? No, this is where you come in. So I am so happy that you were here and able to
Mm.
join me today to go through this and give all these great tips and tricks on why to hire a VA and how and all this. This conversation has been absolutely amazing. I thank you,
Mm.
thank you, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much, Regina. You asked some good questions and pulled some good information out of me for your people. So thank you for that.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining us today. And don't forget to join us next time on Coffee with Regina. Bye for now.